Welcome back to Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. I'm Coach Brian. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now. This is Discover Your Center of Power. And I came up with this lesson plan for this week. I put kickboxing classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I came up with this concept due to, throughout my coaching career, noticing that there are many people who are wrapped up in, say, being the best in class, or they're wrapped up in feeling like they are the worst in class. And either one of these ego-driven attitudes gets in the way. So I'm going to share some practices that should help us get those egos out of the way, and then I'm going to share a physical practice that can be used after we've learned to relax a little. Now, though kickboxing is a competitive sport, here in class, it's not about being competitive. We are focusing on the current movement in the current moment. And when we start to compare ourselves to the person next to us, that distracts us from our own movement, and it can hinder our progress. So in class this week, the focus is going to be on that balance point, which is about 3 finger widths below your belly button and 3 finger widths inside of your abdomen. Not only holding your balance there, but imagining breathing there and imagining relaxedly rotating the body from there, from your center of power. This week, too, we're going to focus on finding triggers that allow us to drop in. So, for instance, in traditional martial arts, people will bow before they step onto the mat or into the arena. And many see this as a sign of respect. I see it as a way to tune in. It's a trigger to tune in or to drop in to the moment. And you can see this with, say, basketball players. Some basketball players wear like a rubber band on their wrist. And when they are about to begin a game, they will snap that rubber band and snap themselves into the moment. Or if they find themselves distracted, they will snap that rubber band on their wrist and snap themselves into the moment. So I'm going to encourage the students to find ways to do that. And again, on that point about breathing and balance, those are 2 ways that we can trigger ourselves to drop into the present moment and get away from any thoughts that are distracting. So if we find ourselves becoming distracted, focusing on someone else or focusing on something outside of the movement, we can take a deep breath into that area, into that center of power, 3 finger widths below your belly button and 3 finger widths in. Settling down, feeling that balance and breathing into that spot. And this is one trigger that we can use to drop into the present moment. And of course, finding our own creative ways to do this, which sometimes it can be words. You can have a word, focus. You can say drop in. You can say tune in, and repeat that until you find yourself back in the present moment, not distracted by egocentric thoughts. So by finding yourself a personal trigger, personal way to go about tuning in to class, and getting away from these egocentric thoughts about how you want to be the best in the history of ever or the worst in the history of ever, we can settle down and feel the movements and feel the true power that comes from being present in this moment and open to learning something new. So again, this week, that's the lesson plan. Letting go of those egocentric thoughts, finding that center of balance or that center of power, and I am encouraging anyone who watches this video to try the same thing in whatever endeavor it is that they're getting into. Before I let you go, I'm going to get into a technique that I learned actually here on YouTube that will allow you to relax a lot more and gain a lot more power in your strikes. I have shared this before in an earlier video, but I think mixing it with the mental lesson from earlier will be even more empowering for you. There's a warm-up movement that I put everyone through, and it's a simple torso twist. But first, we have to get our horse stance, which is feet shoulder width apart, or a little further if you want. Forearms are parallel to the ground, and we are twisting. Relieving the tension in that knee, in that hip, all the way up the chain by bringing the foot up off the ground. We are holding our balance in that imaginary spot, 3 finger widths below the belly button and 3 finger widths in. And we are also breathing into and exhaling out of that spot. So we're going to start with fists together, forearms parallel to the ground, breathing through these motions. And right now, I do feel some tension in my shoulders and in my hips. And so I'm going to do this. Again, I'm not trying to feel burn. I am trying to find relaxation. So I'm doing this until that tension is gone. Until the tension in this movement is gone. Once I found the tension in that movement gone, I'm going to do the same thing. Find my center of balance, 3 inches below, or 3 finger widths below the belly button, 3 finger widths inside, that center of power that we're talking about. My arms are going to be at my side, and I'm going to rotate. I can touch here, and I can touch here. And again, it's not a workout. I'm actually trying to loosen up here. And I can feel some tension in my shoulders, so I'm going to do this until that tension is gone. Normally, I would say do this 20 times and then just get better at it as you go. But for me right now, I'm going to get rid of this tension. Nice and relaxed. Letting all that tension go. And then we're going to carry this feeling, this nice, relaxed, noodly feeling, into the next movement. And the next movement is going to be the same movement, but with strikes. So I'm going to be here and here, and I'm going to strike the bag, or the pads if you're holding pads. And we can do that 20 times. So, since this is meant for fighting, we're definitely not going to be fighting from here, right? Our hands are going to be up a little higher. We're going to work our way there. We're going to bring our hands up a little higher, still almost like this one here that we started out with. We're going to be here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to remember that relaxed feeling, keeping that center of balance, breathing from the same place, and we're going to start striking from there. even more. And we're going to do the same relaxed movements, but we are going to do them from our fighter's hand position. Again, everything is coming from the center of power. We're letting go of any feeling of feeling like getting caught up in I'm the worst ever, or I'm not doing this right, or feeling, sometimes you'll hit the bag like really hard, you'll get that pop, you'll feel that power, you'll get excited, and then your technique will start to deplete. So rather than get excited, we'll just keep breathing, find that center of balance, and keep moving. Keep trying to perfect the movement. You'll notice how as I strike the bag, my hand will keep coming through. I'm not stopping at the bag. Just like this movement here and this movement here, I'm continuing through the bag. Now, this isn't just about round punches. So I can do the same thing with straight punches. Again, I'm got that relaxed. Like let's say if I were here doing this. That can be part of your warm-up too for fighters class. So rather than only doing this, you can add punches, and that is a great way to keep that motion going. So again, we're keeping that relaxed motion going. So through letting go of our ego, finding our balance in that center of power, breathing into that center of power, and moving from that center of power, this is how we're going to perfect our technique. This is how we're going to get better. This is how we're going to avoid hiccups or plateauing. Once again, I'm Coach Brian with Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. If you haven't hit that like button yet, do that now. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now. Comment below what you think. And if you think that these lessons are helpful for anyone else, go ahead and share. You can have access to my suggested library, my personal blog, Northwest Elite Spirit merchandise, and you can sign up to be trained by me personally online at northwestelitespirit.com. Thank you for letting me share.